Right, 16 June 2024, and today I've got a quick update. Normally I come late on a Sunday, but today I've decided to come a bit early because we've got quite an interesting story, and this is to do with controversial Zimbabwean businessman Wicknell Chivayo. As you know, Chivayo is embroiled in a strange dispute with his business partners, Mike Chimombe and others. And this case involves Mnangagwa, it involves ZACC chairperson Chugumba, it involves CIO director Isaac Moyo, and other people that I won't mention here. A lot of people are involved in this case. And reports today say that Wicknell Chivayo has fled Zimbabwe. So let's put up a picture of Wicknell Chivayo here. So controversial Zimbabwean businessman Wicknell Chivayo is reported to have fled Zimbabwe last week after he realized the seriousness of the situation that he is now in. And he fled Zimbabwe after he attempted to go to State House to explain himself to Mnangagwa, and Zimbabwe intelligence stopped him from entering State House. So Wicknell Chivhayo was usually allowed to enter Zimbabwe State House where the president stays or does his business. But last week, after the leaking of the video or the audio in which he said Mnangagwa is in his pocket, he was no longer allowed to enter State House, and he was in fact told or turned back. Wicknell Chivhayo and Mnangagwa's relationship date back to 2017. So you can see this picture here, where the first time Chivhayo publicly appeared with Mnangagwa, that was in 2017. Mnangagwa has worked with Wicknell Chivhayo behind the scenes for a very long time. Chivhayo has been a runner for Mnangagwa for a very long time. The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, on the other hand, is refusing to investigate Chivhayo. So on the picture that I just showed you, that is Thandiwe Mlobane from ZACC. And the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission has said they are not going to investigate Wicknell Chivhayo because they want someone to make a report. They're not going to take issues from the newspaper. And even if there was going to be evidence presented, like has been presented on the newspapers, they're not going to use it because it will look like they're carrying out a witch hunt. So that is what she told the Standard newspaper today. So this is a crazy situation. Mnangagwa is proving to be untouchable, and Wicknell Chivhayo is also proving to be untouchable. However, I believe that Wicknell Chivhayo leaving Zimbabwe was a strategic move to avoid him being arrested by other factions within ZANU PF. So this was not necessarily a running away, but a strategic retreat by Wicknell Chivhayo, because Mnangagwa knows that if Chivhayo stays in Zimbabwe, eventually he might get arrested. And once Chivhayo is arrested, he's not going to get out. Chivhayo has got a lot of cases that can come out and that can smear Mnangagwa. There are a lot of people right now who are implicated by Chivhayo in that audio. Although Chivhayo has said that the audio is false, it's clear that that audio is not false. Chivhayo had to apologize. If the audio was false, why is Chivhayo apologizing to Mnangagwa? He's apologizing because that audio is true and it's being leaked by his business partners who know more information. So I think what needs to happen now is we now need to open a case, a formal case at ZACC. So ZACC is this organization here. That is where Thandiwe Mlobane said no case has been opened. She said she's going to check on Monday if there's a case that has been opened. So what we need to do is on Monday, we need to open a case against Chivhayo. So if anyone knows Mike Chimombe, tell him to give us the details. Then we'll go and open that case at ZACC and make sure that Thandiwe here doesn't have an excuse for not investigating Chivhayo. Then in South Africa, there's going to be a case opened against Scott Sakupanya at the Reserve Bank, at the South African Reserve Bank. There are guys who are already working on that case here in South Africa against Scott Sakupanya. Their bank accounts are going to be frozen. and FNB is also going to be approached because the proceeds that came into the accounts of Better Brand are those of corruption in Zimbabwe. So banks here take these things seriously. And so Scott Sakupanya can expect a court case here in South Africa. A report is going to be made against Better Brands here in South Africa and also against the South African Reserve Bank. So these guys have got nowhere to run. Wicknell Chivayo and his friend Scott Sakupanya. As you know, Scott Sakupanya is implicated in the murder of Pastor Tafmane Masaya. That is the case which we're busy with. These guys are eventually going to end up in jail, and people that are helping them to end up in jail. So I'm talking here about people like Commissioner General Matanga, who is refusing to investigate the case of the murder of Pastor Tafmane Masaya. This is the same crew that is corrupt, working with the Mnangagwa, that have corrupted the judicial system, that has corrupted the police, that has corrupted the electoral system, that has corrupted the banking system, working with people like Anakuda and the Minister of Finance. The whole thing is a scam. They're running a big giant scam, and with the coming of the ZIG, they've got a piggy bank, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, where they create fake ZIG, which they distribute all over the country and use the Zimbabwean currency as their own personal property. So this is the headline for today. Very sad. Wicknell Chivhayo has fled Zimbabwe. He has slipped out of the country, and no one knows where he's gone. This is after state security refused to let him into State House last week, according to reports, according to media reports. But the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission is refusing to investigate Wicknell Chivhayo, saying that they'll only investigate if someone makes a report. And currently, no one has made a report. That is from Thandiwe Mlobane here, who is the spokesperson and responsible for investigations at ZACC. So as I said, those reports are going to be made against Wicknell Chivhayo. He can run, but he can't hide. And these things need to be dealt with. The problem is these things are so close to Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa is responsible for all these things. And as soon as you touch Wicknell, and as soon as you touch Scott Sakupanya, you are getting closer and closer to Mnangagwa. And then you need to have a bit more strength than normal. That is why you see the people from ZACC, they're not capable of doing this. They're not capable of investigating Mnangagwa. It's difficult for them to do it. But I know the South African Reserve Bank will be able to do it. They're not afraid of Mnangagwa. I know the FNB here in South Africa, they're not afraid of Scott Sakupanya. These guys are not going to be able to bank outside Zimbabwe. Money laundering is a serious crime. And especially when you've got fake transactions, corrupt deals, and you're on sanctions. Those are the kind of things that you cannot get away here with here in South Africa. Now I want to go to some news. I want to go to some quick news, and let's start with South Africa. So South Africa is very interesting. I want to start with a personal story. So that is a story involving the Vice President of South Africa, Paul Mashatile. So this story is very interesting. As you know, Paul Mashatile recently got married to Umile Mujongile in March. So Paul Mashatile, the Vice President of South Africa. So this is Paul Mashatile, the Vice President of South Africa. And he's got two ex-girlfriends. That is Mbata and another one called Nkosi. So Gugu Nkosi and Nomatemba Mbata are the ex-girlfriends of the Vice President of South Africa, Paul Mashatile. And he's got a protection order against both of them. So this is Nomatemba Mbata here, and this is Gugu Nkosi here. They are the ex-girlfriends of Vice President Paul Mashatile before he married Umile Mujongile in March. So Nomatemba has lost a court case this week, and she then asked her family to write to Paul Mashatile and ask for a meeting. And the office of former Shatile has responded and said that they're not going to talk to Nomambata. So this is quite interesting. This is like a high level love triangle that is taking place here. So Mashatile with Nomatemba, Mashatile with Gugunkosi here. And this is Gugunkosi. She used to appear a lot with poor Mashatile before he suddenly and unexpectedly married Yumile Mjongile. And now we have the case of Nomambata, who has written to his office asking for a meeting. I don't know, maybe she wants to be a second wife, but the office of Mashatile has said no, they will not do the meeting because this thing was done in court and was finished. However, the brother of Nomatemba, Muzutule Mbata, has also written to the office of Mashatile asking for a meeting, and he is asking for this meeting by the 15th, so it should have happened yesterday. But Mashatile is refusing to have the meeting. So that is in South Africa. Very, very interesting public. Three, what do you call that? A love triangle. I don't want to call it three something. So that is an interesting story over there in South Africa. But let's go to an even more interesting story in South Africa. And this is the story of President Cyril Ramaphosa and the DA. So what has happened yesterday is that there's been a GNU between the DA and the ANC and the Good and all other smaller parties except the MK. So there's a government of national unity. President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to be sworn in on Wednesday, and there are going to be ministerial posts allocated. And currently the DA is asking for 5 ministerial posts, and they're also asking that the chairperson of a portfolio committee should not be the same person that is coming, that is leading the ministry. And the problem in South Africa is that this is not going to work. The DA and the ANC are totally different. The DA has got certain values that are not the ANC. It would be chaos if the DA was to work with ministries, because the South African ministries don't work well. Under the ANC, the government ministries have collapsed, and corruption is a pandemic. And the DA has tried very much in the Western Cape to run a proper government. So those two won't work. There will be a clash at all levels, from the bottom to the top. And I foresee a situation where there's going to be a very unstable government in South Africa until someone eventually takes over. And obviously the DA is going to try to take over government, and you're going to see attempts for the DA to be a majority party within South Africa going forward. So they will not allow a situation where the ANC is going to continue in office. So the moment they get in, they will try to get the ANC out. And this should take no more than 10 years. You probably have the DA as a majority party with the with more than two-thirds majority in the South African parliament and also in the South African government. And I won't be surprised if we have a DA president within the next 5 to 10 years. The ANC is very divided. Institutionally, they don't have the necessary structure and institutional strength. They are too divided, and they'll be decimated by the DA, which is a machine. The DA is a machine. It's well organized, and they know how to operate strategically. So either the ANC will collapse and be gone, and something else comes up, or the DA is going to be in charge of South Africa in the next 10 years. That's my prediction on what is happening in South Africa. Now, let's go to other interesting stories. In Zimbabwe, there is a new system for managing the population registry, and that is coming up next month. You're going to see that system coming up next month. So you'll be able to link all information about a person, which is voting, hospital visits, interaction with government, anywhere you interact with government, that will be in a new system. And that new system is coming next month, should be fully implemented by the end of December. You're going to see a system called the Zimbabwe Population Registry System by the end of December. And I think the question is, how efficient is the implementation going to be? Basically, Zimbabwe has done well in terms of securing the passport. The corruption that we see with the passport is actually only after the Mnangagwa government. That's when you started to see corruption involving Zimbabwean passport. Before that, it wasn't there. Only that case that I showed you last week, where some people who don't exist eventually managed to buy a car using a passport of a person that has never existed. So that was crazy. But those are the kind of things that I'm talking about, which ever since Mnangagwa came into office, he has destroyed a lot of systems. Corruption has become a pandemic, and state houses became a playground for questionable characters. And the solution to this is for Mnangagwa to step down. We cannot allow what has happened, especially since the rigging of the elections, to continue. And this is something that needs to be addressed very, very quickly, without fail. So I want to see if any of the newspapers is published. So let me look at Sunday Mail. Sunday Mail was not published. Let's look at Chronicle. Sorry, Sunday News. Sunday News is not published also. And then let's look at our usual newspaper here. It's called the Standard newspaper. So let's see what the Standard newspaper is saying. Apologies here while I search my Standard newspaper. So the Standard Zimbabwe. Let's see what the Standard Zimbabwe is saying. So the Standard Zimbabwe is saying Chivayo saga divides ZANU PF. And I want to share with you the screen here. Chivayo saga divides ZANU PF. Obvious, Chivayo saga is going to divide ZANU PF because Mnangagwa is untouchable. ZANU PF guys don't know how to deal with Mnangagwa. They don't know how to deal with him at the moment. So this is the headline here in the Standard newspaper. There is massive division in ZANU PF. So let's read what it says in the beginning. President Emmerson Mnangagwa is ruling ZANU PF is divided on how to react to the raging scandal involving controversial businessman Wicknell Chivayo. Because of the elaborate patronage system that has seen him doling out cash and cars to selected people in the party, it has emerged. Chivayo is in the eye of the storm after an alleged recording of him claiming that Mnangagwa and other senior government officials are in his pockets. So you see, Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, I don't know if they're in a faction, but what they did is extremely unusual. They leaked information that is very dangerous to Mnangagwa. So you can't do that if you're not in a faction. You must be having some protection of some sort. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. But Mike Mpofu and sorry, Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, right? Let's get those names right. They've revealed information on Director General Isaac Moyo, Chief Cabinet Secretary Martin Rushwaya, and ZACC Chairperson Priscilla Chigumba. And these are people that are taking money and being given money from tenders. And these tenders are inflated. So the tenders are not real. It's illegal. So you must understand something. It's illegal to have a tender that has got inflated prices, and it's illegal to have a tender that is not subject to competitive bidding. So where was this tender flighted? Who were the other bidders? And why was this bidder selected? What was his experience in providing these services? So it's illegal. So what they've done here, they can get arrested in a normal country. And anyway, it won't be allowed. What Chivayo and Mnangagwa are doing, this won't be allowed. However, because Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa is going to get away with it for now. But when a new government comes into office, these things are going to be brought up. Don't think it's going to end here. So Mnangagwa, they will eventually have to run from Zimbabwe. I've said this before. Mnangagwa has got serious cash flow challenges. These monies are too tiny for Mnangagwa's bills. Mnangagwa has got over 40 kids that we know. And if you take 40 million and give all of it to Mnangagwa, it won't last 1 year. It's very little. So Mnangagwa has got a serious cash flow challenge. That is why he's hanging around with these questionable characters like Chivayo. And he will never stop. And when he gets out of office, Mnangagwa is going to struggle a lot because he won't have access to this money. That's why he wants to stay for a third term. Then Koma Gilbert in the comments says, I thought when they removed Mugabe, they said they wanted to remove the criminals around president. What's different now? This is very important. You're going to see what's going to happen. Someone else is going to come and say they want to remove someone, criminals around Mnangagwa. Then Mkoma TF says, first to flee, others are going to follow. Sengezo, Malaba, Scott, Sakupanya, Matanga to follow Chihuri. These ones won't be able to flee. The thing that is going to happen is going to be sudden. So most of these guys won't be able to flee. At least the other ones manage to flee. The next episode that they're going to see, people won't be able to flee. So they just need to fix the situation. Anamatanga, they need to fix. Ananyati, they need to fix. Scott Sakupanya, it's forgone what's going to happen to him. And if you look at people like Wicknell, things have already started happening. The whole cabal is going to collapse in front of your eyes. You're going to see what is going to happen. Killing an innocent man, that is where they made a mistake. The biggest mistake when they killed Pastor Tafani Masaya. That was a very bad mistake. This cabal, and then to make matters worse, refusing to investigate. You see the pattern. They are refusing to investigate Pastor Tafani Masaya. It's case. Now they are refusing to investigate Wicknell's case. And who is the ZACC? People that went in there saying that they're able to do what they're supposed to do, but they can't. So let's see what's going to happen. And then Mkomatina says Mike and Moses should be in a Chiwenga faction. That is why the general suddenly went on a trip before everything leaked. Then General Nyuku Tichaku Vondoka, Basipo. I don't think Chiwenga is that kind of person that will run away from this kind of thing. Mnangagwa is terrified of Chiwenga. That's one thing you should know. When Chiwenga is there, Mnangagwa doesn't do these games. That's why you've never seen Chiwenga and Wicknell in the same room. Look at Opa. She stands right there, the Minister of Defense, discussing secrets, state secrets with the president just before a flight. On that flight was Wicknell Chivhayo. He went to South Korea with Mnangagwa. How crazy is that? So you've got a Minister of Defense that doesn't know what she's doing. And similarly, you've got a Director General of the CFO who doesn't know what they're doing. All these guys are compromised. And it's been leaked by Wicknell Chivhayo. That's why he had to run. He leaked information that is very deadly. In a normal country, by today, all of these guys should have stepped down. And you see that I've also produced last night a video on Chief Justice Malaba. He was attending a funeral here at Chief Malaba, where Chief Malaba died. He was over there. And I've mentioned that the justice system in Zimbabwe is being abused. So all the systems that are supposed to be there have been destroyed by Mnangagwa. And guys, this is not a joke. What you are seeing here is a serious matter that needs to be addressed. You cannot destroy the justice system, the banking system, the education system, the legal system. Everything is destroyed. And then people just look. You cannot allow that to happen. And a solution is needed. And the solution needs to come right now during the SADC summit in Zimbabwe. Do not allow this situation to persist because even our lawyers are now criminals. And this week, I'm going to be making reports to the Law Society of Zimbabwe. We need to deal with criminality in Zimbabwean systems. And we need a new country with a new clean look. You can't have no separation between the criminals and people who are supposed to work in government. So at the moment, the criminals and the government, same thing. They're operating the same way, and they are led by the president. So your president is part of the criminals. By now, Mnangagwa should have came out and said and denied everything that Wicknell said. Wicknell clearly said Mnangagwa is in his pocket, and Mnangagwa treats him like his son, and that they do everything together. All the deals that they do, Wicknell gets the blessings of Mnangagwa. Explain how Wicknell got a tender at ZACC and then managed to pay off all those people. And explain how Wicknell has been friends with Mnangagwa since 2017. I showed you this photo from 2017 between Wicknell and Mnangagwa. So these things, when I mention them here, you must understand what's happening. We're coming to the end of a very difficult period, but it's going to be a push. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Where we're going, it's going to be a serious push. And when it's finished, Mnangagwa is going to be out of office. Mnangagwa is not going to stay with this kind of situation we have here. And then Koma Peter says, all what you do, whether good or bad, will follow you. I believe it. Koma Peter, these guys, they're going to crash and burn in front of us. We're going to watch them as they crash and burn. And Mkoma Henry says, hypocrisy is the order of the day, ZANU PF. A clueless bunch of losers who are only obsessed with power grabbing and accumulation of wealth. But the power is in our hands. So the power is in our hands. SADC summit. Well, let's give these guys the biggest protest that they've ever seen. Wicknell should never be seen again in Zimbabwe. So this will be the end of Wicknell. Should not see Wicknell again walking the streets. The next time that we see Wicknell, Thandiwe, you've got arresting powers. She is the head of audit here in ZACC. Arrest this man, and then arrest the Director General of CIO, arrest Chugumba, arrest Rushwaya, arrest everyone who was mentioned in that video, in that audio. Then make sure Mnangagwa get dealt with by other people who've got the necessary authority and power to do it. You cannot allow this to continue. So let's make sure that this becomes the end of this cabal. And I know that it's coming, the end is coming to these guys. So I want to end here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the newspapers to publish, and then I'll come back here in the evening. I'll give you a bit of news in the evening today. Bishop Nyamakanga has issued a statement. However, our journalist is not available today. So what we're going to do is we're going to release that statement tomorrow or the day after, as soon as our journalist comes back. He's set out the plan for where we're going to next, and we'll definitely bring it to you. Bishop Nyamakanga is with a platform on YouTube. You can go over there. He was also live on a space last night on Change Radio. You can go over there and have a look at what he said. So thank you very much. This is a critical time, and we like your support. I want to end by requesting support in terms of our travel costs to the UK and to Botswana. Please go and donate at fumojena.com. That is where all your payment methods are. PayPal, World Remit, Mukuru, and thank you very much everyone who's donated. We really appreciate it. And we're going to make sure that we make you proud. We're not going to let you down. Thank you very much, everyone, and a good day to you all.